Hello everyone, OfDiceandPenYT here. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Screen. Joining me today, as always, is Cameron. Hello, Would you like to say hello, Cameron?
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. This is DDGGFM.
What? I...
I don't know.
Okay.
D&D Gary Gygax, that's what I thought. Because I know American radio stations have like 4 initials, so I was like, let me come up with that quickly.
Yeah, they can get a little out there with some of them. Alright. So, Cameron, I've got a question for you.
Of course.
What is the funniest fail you as a player or one of the players you DM'd for experienced in a session?
That is a good one. Gosh. I'm genuinely stumped with that one. I'm trying to now think.
Starting today with a doozy.
Yeah, apparently. I There was the time that a monk failed to climb a tree. He kept rolling natural ones trying to climb a tree every single time. And eventually I just had to be a benevolent DM and just be like, because they hadn't reached the point where their climb speed was the same as their walking speed. So I was having them roll with a very low DC of like 5. Natural one, natural one, natural one. Eventually I just said, would you would you just give up?
Did they?
They did. And I was benevolent from there on out and was like, I'll just let you go up the tree.
Yeah, I've had a
Right.
moment similar to that. I was playing a Tabaxi Ranger, and I was in my favorite terrain, hunting down my favorite enemy, but I couldn't roll anything but a 1 for the life of me for like a whole session. An entire session I was getting nat 1s, and since I was using my hearing and smell, I was rolling with advantage. Because of Tabaxi's keen hearing and smell,
Yeah.
I couldn't roll above a nat 1 to save my life for an entire session.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. And this was going to be like one of the only times we're going to be in both. It was going to be both at the same time. And I just flopped it. I've actually recycled that character for your Flight into Fiona Node. Same character, different name.
It's very difficult to think of when it's been funny. Another time was the it's always fun when you get them to do a Constitution saving throw after having a particularly strong liquor.
Galloway would know that well.
We had We had a drunken master monk, different campaign. I gave them advantage because it made sense. Um, yeah, they failed and ended up stealing the bottle and hiding in a fountain.
Okay. Here's another good question for you. Who's your favorite NPC from any campaign, and why are they your favorite?
Oh, I mean, the joke here is my regular one that I keep um, mentioning, which is Joe Pecky and the Blue Tip Mafia. Um, but I have a particular type of character, someone who has done some shady stuff in the past, but has since retired and is now living their glory years. Um, so my main example for that is a character that I include quite often, which is a tiefling by the name of Angeles. But the way Angeles is spelt is it looks like Angel Lies. So Angelies. And she is a tiefling proprietor of the Maiden and the Blade, which is an almost entirely tiefling operated business. And she is very protective of her staff. And if someone were to challenge her, she has the stats of a level 20 uh, rogue assassin.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Um, she also is blunt when she needs to be, courteous for the most part, but is also not afraid to mince her words, which is always fun. Um, Another character that I also enjoy making is just a wholesome character. Like, depending on the setting, it's like, you know what? The world is dark and full of terrors. Let's just create a random character that's like, hi, how are you? Are you doing okay? Would you like something to eat? Have you been hydrating? Are you winning? One of those ones. The last one I had would have been Jack the Soup Kitchen Chef. But it's always nice to have for the players a character that they can go to and just relax with. That isn't just the bartender.
Just let me drink my sorrows away, barkeep.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off there.
Do you happen to have any questions, Cameron?
Um, I am trying to think of them. Let me see now. Uh, do, 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 do. So this is all D&D player questions. Uh, okay, here's my question. Uh, what makes, as DM to DM, what makes a good villain?
That's a good one. I think for me, what makes a good villain is the how do I word this? There are a couple things that make a good villain. One of them, of course, is very last thing you should worry about, but that epic boss fight at the end should be the last thing you worry about when it comes to a villain. But it's a very important part of it. Another big part would have to be the depth behind the character you make as the villain. What is it that you want your players to be absolutely horrified by when it comes to this villain? What is the trying to English here? What is the
What is the
core
catalyst?
catalyst is catalyst is a good word. I'm thinking more of what are its core
Principles?
what core principles does it have that just makes the players go, okay, no, this is not good. No, 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 no. You want them to be scared of your villain, but not so scared that they will try to sky off of a fight for them. You want to find that perfect balance between obscurity and infamy.
Definitely.
Another good another thing that makes a good villain is the build up. You don't want to give too much at the beginning, you don't want to give too little at the end, but you also don't want to give so much in the whole thing that they just become desensitized to your villain.
Yeah.
And one thing I like to do when it comes to making a good villain is finding a concept that they represent and then building out from that for its minions, its lieutenants. Try to stay within a theme when it comes to a villain. Because if you stay in theme, it doesn't feel like you're just pulling things willy nilly, and it provides more sustenance to the villain's story.
Definitely. I have a couple of things I would suggest to a DM who's trying to make a big bad evil to consider um, in a similar vein to what's been described. Uh, one of the best things you can do is make the big bad evil relatable, if possible. So let's say that in your world that you're creating, for example, let's say that your big bad evil is going to be um, someone attempting to become a lich. And the reason they're doing that is because they are attempting to become a lich not because they want power. Everybody's like, oh, a lich, they're going to want power. The reason this one individual's trying to be a lich is because they have an incurable curse and they're becoming a lich so that they can get rid of the curse on them.
And their will to survive is so strong they'd do anything to get to that point.
Exactly. It could be that the big bad evil could be an ancient red dragon
Hmm.
that attacks the small little kingdom your players have been living in. And it turns out the reason that this ancient red dragon attacks is because many moons ago, when the kingdom, when the dragon was younger, perhaps the kingdom attacked its nest. So it's been plotting revenge, and this is the result. A dragon that comes in and attacks the entire kingdom out of revenge for its fallen brethren.
Yeah.
Another thing to consider as well, make the villain, try and make the villain the opposite of the party. What I mean is, let's say the party is mostly dedicated towards melee combat. You've got a fighter, you've got a paladin, you've got a cleric, you've got um, maybe one ranged person in your party of four. Most of your party is dedicated towards getting into the melee. Make your make your villain, your big bad evil, ranged specialized. Conversely, if your party is made up of spellcasters, make it something that's got resistance to a lot of their spells. You could have an entire quest where they're trying to figure out a way to actually remove the resistances from the big bad evil so that their spells can do more damage. Because that will give the players a much more gratifying sense of victory. It's the best way to describe it is the ongoing fight between Superman and Lex Luthor. Lex knows he cannot beat Superman in a straight one-on-one physical fight. But what Superman lacks is the intelligence to have a multi-billion-dollar empire and to be able to use that empire to further their advances. Guess what Lex Luthor has?
That.
This is a man who regularly, in just about every media possible, discovers the cure for cancer. A cure for cancer that doesn't involve chemotherapy, it doesn't involve
And
invasive
is the
surgery.
only one without a superpower besides Batman that knows how to defeat Darkseid.
Exactly.
Here's something that's a little off topic, but I think you'd like. What's the best alternative of a magical item you have been given or have given to a player?
Best alternative. I mean, I gave you something very dangerous for Galloway Oakbender to find.
Yeah,
A mod, a modified, I think it's a modified staff of Leleji.
I think
Uh,
so. Yeah, hold on, I could pull it up
I'm
real quick.
because I can't. I know what it's called, but I can't remember what the specific item that I based it off of was. Um, but yeah, that was some dangerous stuff. Um,
Yeah, this is a scary object.
yeah. Uh, I
This is on the level of probably a wing of three wishes.
something like that. Uh, that probably would have been a smarter move to base it off of. Uh, I mean, like I've always said, one of my favorite things to do is to give my barbarians the berserker axe. I don't really mess around with creating magical items because I can't balance to save my life when it comes to them. But I do like the idea that there is a jokester esque, a jokester salesman, traveling salesman, and he has a magical shop.
Mm-hmm.
He goes city to city, and he is more than happy to sell you magical items. But they all have a silly little thing about them. So, for example, he sells you ring of uh, a ring of ray of frost, and it works. It's an effective, uncommon magical item. Here's the caveat. The caveat is every time you cast it, uh, you sparkle like you've been hit with fairy fire. Um, he gives you a wand of fireball.
Yeah, it can only be centered
Uh,
on yourself.
nah, he's not that. That's unfair.
No, you
Uh,
give that to a level 18 character and it only casts third level fireballs.
give that to a level 18 monk.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they
No,
will never.
you give it to a level 18 rogue. That'd be broken. That'd be broken because they'd just be like, I don't take damage. I'm gonna run to the center and just fireball. Fireball.
Yeah,
And it's fireball. And then I will bonus action disengage.
I'm just thinking maybe the monk's surrounded by enemies.
Casts
But
the fireball, then goes
uh,
Fury of blows. Or
yeah,
flurry. Yeah.
fireballs. But it could be that cast the. But the way that you get this one to work is the character has to sing the first verse of Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis. And in house, you do not let that happen. You do not let that wand cast that fireball until the player actually does.
Or the player, not the character, the player reveals something embarrassing about themselves to be able to cast it. And it has to be a different thing each time.
Um, I also like the idea that um, they sell health potions. But the
With
problem
wacky
is
side effects.
with a wacky side effect. The wacky side effect is um, the stronger the potion, the higher the Scoville units inside it.
I thought you were going to be like the canary creams with Harry Potter. You drink it, you turn into a crane for a minute.
Uh, um, but he does go around just selling things with wacky side effects. The important thing is he doesn't do something that hurts the party.
He'll sell you
So
this
it's
bag
very
of holding, but it can only hold oak doors.
um, there was something that I did see once that I want to include, which is if players end up with a stupid amount of gold, which is the I think it's called the golden crab, and it's a little inconspicuous crab about the size of a gold piece. And it's almost indistinguishable. You have to know about them to even know they exist. And it just sits in your golden coin purse, eating your gold coins. And slowly but surely, it eats all the gold in your
I
purse.
need to roll something.
You do not. If you do that to Liar, I will ask Amber for your address, and I will come to Iowa, and I will feed you to the pigs.
Well, it's not like you're gonna need gold where you're going, so.
Yes, but also I have a hotel now.
No, I'm just thinking of something funny. A kingdom is plagued by these crabs because it's eating their economy.
Yeah,
That sounds like a fun side quest.
they've only got like 1 HP, but the trick is to get as many of them as possible. I can't remember what the way is to defeat them, other than just outright killing them. But
They probably taste delicious.
just suddenly reminded of the golden scarab video I saw on Twitter a few months ago. Um,
You mean about the anime where they have, like, they go into the dungeon to get food and shit?
no, this is real, like
No.
real golden scarabs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Someone opens their hand and it's just golden because uh, just going off on a tangent here, scarab beetles don't actually won't burrow into your skin. Um, I believe they're effectively harmless to humans. Don't quote me on that. But it's not like the mummy where you're going to have to run into a wall to crush
I
them.
mean, in physicality, I think they're harmless, but they can still carry pathogens and stuff, but everything does that.
Yeah. I did have an idea that I talked with Amber about last night. Um, a dragon circlet. You have a circlet, so a headpiece, and upon activation, it turns itself into a young dragon that is loyal to you. And whatever kind of dragon is depends on what kind of material, what kind of color the circlet is.
Please tell me the dragon's like a rebellious teenager. You have to convince it to do something.
If the jokester makes it, yes.
It's like, no, I don't want to do it. No, no. Fine. Fucking,
Breathes fire.
yeah. But yeah, when I asked this question, I was actually not expecting these kind of answers. I was expecting more like, you know how Patch has a bag of holding that's not a bag of holding, it's a hat of holding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I when it comes to my players, if they want to flavor up their character design in some way, so they've got the essence of the item, but it's not the actual item itself listed. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. If you've got if you want like a wand of firebolts, but you'd actually prefer it to be a ring, I'm fine with that. It'll cost the same price. It's like there's not going to be that. I'm not going to be fussy about the slight modification in terms of aesthetics. Um, I'm more than happy for some, like if someone, for example, I know that a certain wizard in a very popular tabletop role-playing game franchise in their second campaign. They created a spell which effectively does the same as Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion. Um, and I looked at it and I went, that is really cool. I like that. So I know that rules is written.
Hmm.
Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion only allows you to create a space of 5,000 square feet. Only 5,000 square
Yeah.
feet. I mean, how many people would kill for a 5,000 square foot space to live? Um, but honestly, if you've got a bard that can cast, or a wizard that can cast that, I'm going to play fast and loose with the um, spell. You can create. It's only if like they're using it as combat effectively
Yeah.
would I be like, okay, we're going to need to set some rules. But if it's like, oh yeah, we're going to camp down for the evening. I'm going to cast Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion, and they say, oh yeah, so your room's on the fifth room. Uh, you want to take the third door on the right. There's a training room in the second basement. That sort of thing. I'm not going to expect the I'm not going to expect the caster to draw me a map. That being said, I do in fact, sure, just because I'm a pedantic, I do in fact have maps drawn for my own versions of Mordenkainen's every so often. You better believe if Lyra ever gets that spell, which I think it's a 6th or 7th level, so
We may or
we're
may not
not,
get to that level.
yeah. But if we do, you better believe I will
Yeah.
be drawing plans for it.
Don't get me wrong, it's a fun spell, but there are places where you're not going to be able. You'll be able to cast it, but you won't be able to go in because it. There are planes that ward off making extra dimensional spaces, aren't there?
Not that I'm aware
Hmm.
of.
Well, that'd be fun to tinker with then, where you cast it
Uh,
and it's like it gets warped, and you instead of casting that, you get teleported to another plane.
Potentially. I mean, if push comes to shove, I believe I also gave Lyra Learman's tiny hut. So at the very least, the party will be safe.
That's what you think.
It's impenetrable. Nothing can hurt us inside the bowl.
But what if it's not strong enough to be considered a threat?
Anything that so I will fight you with the rules on that one
I'll.
because
Okay.
because the rules say up to I believe it's yourself and 9 other creatures. So up to 10 creatures of the character's choice can go inside. Otherwise, nothing's getting in.
I understand the rules perfectly on that then. Understood. You'll see
You
it when
better
we.
believe I'm gonna be. You better believe I'm gonna be suspicious of every blade of grass.
Here's another good question, kind of based on what we're doing. What is your favorite cursed item you like to give parties?
The berserker axe. That's just my golden choice. I I would like to. I I would like to work with more cursed items. I've had a plan to. Uh, so fans of the famous tabletop role playing game empire uh, that's been going now for 9-10 years, starring a bunch of nerdy ass voice actors. Um, I have been meaning to take the Craghammer sword from that one. That was a fun one because when the you see now, let me demonstrate what I mean. When okay, here we go. So when the weapon was handed over, the card was about maybe that big.
Mm-hmm.
Once they finally did a proper check of it, this was the side of the card, size of the card for the weapon.
Oh joy.
Uh, realize what Blair doesn't want. There's a brilliant moment where Travis Willingham gets given the full card and he loses it over just how much more there is to it. Um, I mean, a brilliant thing to look at would be there was a TV show from the early to mid 2000s called Shaolin Showdown. Um, and they had these, each episode revolved around, uh, at least in the early seasons, it started becoming serialized towards the end. Um, but each episode focused on locating a piece of Shengon Wu, which is this ancient artifact created by um, this ancient warrior from many years ago. And um, there are some cursed items in there. There was the zombie episode that they had was a spectacular one because it had the sapphire dragon, which was this kettle shaped, which was this kettle shaped Shengon Wu
Mm-hmm.
that was covered in soot. The moment the soot was cleared, even slightly, the sapphire dragon would activate. And what would happen is the sapphire dragon would breathe fire, blue fire, and if you were caught in the blast, you were turned into a sapphire zombie under its command. And the entire episode is this haunted house episode of the characters trying to find out how to defeat the sapphire dragon and stop it before it takes over the world. Spoiler alert, they figure it out. But that would be a spectacular cursed item to use on the players. It's like, here's this random black kettle shaped like a dragon. Have fun with it. Um, I know Fool's Gold also has one of the best cursed items I've ever heard of. The Comb of Reverse Alignment. If you brush your hair with this comb, it will change your alignment. So you'll go the polar opposite
So you make sure to
of,
always brush even numbers.
yes, because if you brush, so for example, the way that they use this, spoiler alert for Fool's Gold, they used this on an evil baron who went on to become an ally. They brushed his hair once with the comb. He went from lawful evil to chaotic good and became a strong ally of the Fool's Gold team.
That's kind of crazy.
This wasn't a 3.5 game as well when alignment mattered.
So sad that it's true. But I think my favorite cursed item I like to do, something Galloway has experienced just recently,
Yep,
Horcruxes. I love to pull out the Horcruxes.
monster.
Hey, you don't have to worry all too much. It's only gonna destroy Galloway's soul.
Luckily, luckily, I have backups.
Yeah. I kinda wanted Pole or Tabitha to pick it up though.
Well, yeah, they've got more HP.
No, that's not it. Because of whose Horcrux it would have been it'd been ironic if one of them got it. Because you remember the name was Stall.
Yes.
And the new religion popping up is Stall's Temparius, and they have something against Aarakocra, Asimar, Kenkus. So it would have been hilarious if one of them picked it up.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Spoiler alert. Spoilers.
Hopefully, the time that everyone from the game hears this, you're either out of it already or the big finale's happened with it. Do you have any other questions?
Uh, hmm. Not that I can immediately think of.
All right.
If you've got another question, though.
Yep, I've got one more question. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I'm sure I can think of something.
This one is pretty solid one. What are the ways you help your players visualize what their characters would see in game?
Um, I tend to give very detailed descriptions to the point where I get a little bit carried away, I confess. If
Spending 10 minutes describing a
I,
bar that we were rolling for 5.
yep, uh, the, uh, look, I'm just J.R.R. Tolkien reincarnate, leave me be. It's just, I have the exact same situation as well. Born in South Africa, um, yeah, that's about moved to the UK, been miserable in places that I don't want to go back to, except not the trenches of the Somme. That's about the only difference. So effectively, what I need to do is have a couple of kids and then start making up a bedtime story for them. Uh, um, if I could get a reference image, I will do that. I will tend to use real world locations primarily, but if there's just something about it that I'm not 100% sold on, I might, and this is going to get me a lot of flack out there, I might resort to AI generation. But
Gasp!
only for private games. I will not. I will never. If we ever, I don't know, use this. If we ever do this for a live show or something, and I'm for what, if I'm ever in a thing that's making money for myself and the others, um, I will never use AI images. I will use reference images, and eventually, when
SRD
I
images, stuff like that.
yeah, and then once we're earning enough money that I can do it, I'll happily pay artists for backgrounds.
Yeah.
Support artists. AI should only be used to make as toilet paper.
Or inspiration for the artists. Like to give them a general idea what you're looking for.
Yeah,
Or if you just want a nice background on your desktop.
exactly. Private use is okay-ish because there's plenty of tools out there to make stuff that isn't AI generated. But unfortunately, AI bros are stealing from artists, so uh, they can go and get. Well, if they, well, that's the problem is that they can't get fucked. So that's why they're AI bros. Um,
That's what you
if they went
said.
to go, if they go and get fucked, then they might actually be decent humans. Okay. I I have one. I have a question.
Yeah.
Assuming that we get big enough, when we get big enough, let's be optimistic. That we can start inviting guest players on, famous individuals in the D&D community,
Hmm.
in the tabletop role-playing game community. Who would you invite on to Of Dice and Pen?
I'm gonna have to give you three people because I can't pick just one. Um, the biggest one for me would have to be. God damn. Who would I want to invite? This is gonna be very controversial, but I would not invite Matt Mercer. Brendan Lee
Matt's
Mulligan.
very busy.
Yeah, he's a very busy man. Brendan Lee Mulligan. That's a definite one. I don't know if he plays D&D, but I would like them to join Mark Rosewater from Wizards of the Coast. I love the work he does, especially Magic the
One
Gathering.
would hope that one would hope he plays.
Yeah. Yeah, Brendan Lee Mulligan, Mark Rosewater. And just because I think it would be a great ass show if they played. That's a big thing. If they played. Would probably have to be. I've blanked on a name. Blanked on a name.
Build up all that.
Yeah, I've blanked on the name. Hold on.
We're keeping that in.
Yes, we are. Fuck. Do you ever just do that where your brain shuts off right when you're right on the thought of something?
Way too often. It's called ADHD, my friend. That and potentially early onset Alzheimer's, but that's my family's genetics for you.
Vin Diesel. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. Vin Diesel.
He does play. I've heard he plays. I know he's been challenged about that by Joe Manganiello.
Honestly, I'd want those three to play a game with Invader and you and Amber.
God, the danger.
Only because I feel like Invader and Brendan Lee Mulligan would play off each other's energy so well.
Yep.
Oh my god.
That would be a danger.
That oh my god, that'd be scary.
Yeah.
And maybe if it's Brendan, Zach, and Invader, that'd be really scary.
Oh wow.
That'd be
Yeah.
really scary.
Here's what I love about Sakurai is he has the perfect timing of any human I have ever come across.
I killed him, yeah.
I don't. That is exactly what I was about to reference.
I killed him, yeah.
He let Brendan have his Atticus Finch moment where Brendan Lee Mulligan was playing so straight, so dramatic, and then that line just I paused the video when I watched that. I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
I was laughing too hard.
Ladies and gentlemen, the jury.
I,
Today you've seen state's prosecutor effectively try to bamboozle you with loose and speculative evidence that places my client near the scene of the crime at the time of the murder. I forget the rest.
yeah, I killed him. Uh, I so if I were in charge of the special guests, uh, I mean, at the moment, totally not biased, but a few people from Baldur's, a few of the voice actors from Baldur's Gate would be invited. Um, definitely, what's his name now? It escapes me, but he is now Neil Newbin, Astarion's voice actor. Um, also Jennifer English, who voices Shadowheart, and oh, what's her name?
For all our lovely viewers at home, just a heads up, I know jack shit about Baldur's Gate.
That's your problem. Devora Wild, the voice actor for Lizelle. I mean, to be fair, I'd also invite. Let me just look up TG3 voice actors so I can get everybody. Really? Okay, I need to keep playing the game more. Apparently, J.K. Simmons is in this. J.K. Simmons playing D&D is something I would actually like to see.
Yes. J.K.
Uh,
Simmons, the perfect six-man table. J.K. Simmons, Brendan Lee Mulligan, Matthew Mercer, Zach Oyama, fucking Jack
yeah,
Black, and Johnny Depp.
definitely. Uh, yeah, I would happily invite Devora Wild, Amelia Tyler, the narrator from the game, Jennifer English, Neil Newburn, Tim Downey, Theo Solomon, and Samantha Beard, and Emma Gregory, and Dave Jones,
Oh,
and Tracy Wiles.
I am beating myself up right now because there is one person I would invite over those three that I mentioned. Simon from the Yogscast.
Ooh, interesting choice.
Have you seen his work
Um,
on the Mystery Quest show where he plays in Call of Cthulhu and Cyborg and
he plays, from what I've seen of his playstyle, he's quite the he he's a surprising person because I would think he'd play the comedic humor, but actually that generally tends to go towards Lewis. He actually tries to play seriously, which is very much stark contrast.
yeah,
Um,
he chimes in at perfect times when it can be comedic, but he is a very very good dedicated player that because you think about it, he's everyone plays D&D as an escape from themselves, right? They usually try to play
yep,
something that's if not the exact opposite to their personality, it's something close to that. Simon is known to be a very humorous and comedic person, so him going to these RPG games, it could be subconsciously he's wanting to play more serious roles because he feels like he wants to be taken just a little more seriously in the game.
definitely. You know who else I've just thought of? Because I only recently discovered that she DMs for her grandchildren. Dame Judy Dench.
You have made a loss here.
Uh, so, because you're quite young, uh, the lady who plays M in the Daniel Craig James Bond films.
I haven't seen any James Bond film.
Queen Elizabeth the First in Shakespeare in Love.
Haven't seen that either.
Lord help me.
I don't watch TV. I read books.
But she's a Shakespearean actor.
Okay.
And when I say Shakespearean, I mean Shakespearean. I think she is incredible. She's one of the most prolific female actors out there, and apparently she DMs for her grandchildren. I want to sit in on a Big Bad Evil speech by her because that must be an epic speech.
Oh yeah, do you have any other questions?
No, I am out of questions, my good sir.
All right. Well, then that's going to be all for this episode of Behind the Screen, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. All right. Want to say goodbye, Cameron?
So long, farewell.
No more copyright. No copyright. Please, I beg you. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. This is the Penmeister signing out.